I made a mistake, and it was in my last video about Trump sending the military in to open up the water in California. So I'd like to correct and own that error. I'd also like to give some additional context and nuance that you might find helpful. I'd also like to clarify how I made the mistake so that you can learn from the error. And finally, I'd like to clarify what the broader point of the video is, because mistakes notwithstanding, I think the point is still important. First, the mistake. In my video, I claimed that the water that Trump released does not reach Southern California. That is incorrect. The water does go to Central Valley, but the Central Valley Water Project connects to the State Water Project, and the State Water Project does serve LA. I also mentioned that Trump announced that he had sent the military in to turn on the water, which is true. To just add some nuance here for you, what he actually did was send in the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, and it is part of their job to manage the Central Valley Project. So what he did does fall firmly within the federal purview. Now let's talk about how I made the mistake that I did. I use AI heavily to help me research my videos. Now, the thing with AI is that it utilizes data from a variety of media sources and heavily relies on media information from the mainstream media. And because the mainstream media is biased, AI is often biased as a result. Normally, the way that I get around this is by just applying my own critical thinking and asking a lot of different questions in different ways and getting really creative with my prompts until I feel like I've gotten to the ground truth. However, sometimes I still make mistakes, and I did this time. I want to show you the answer that I originally got from AI. And in fact, I only eventually got the truth of the matter, which was that Central Valley Water Project is connected to the State Water Project, when I copy-pasted a comment from one of my Instagram commenters and asked AI to reconcile what the Instagram commenter was saying versus the story that it gave me. And once I did that, AI corrected itself. So I think one could reasonably argue that I could have been more creative with my prompting to get to the ground truth. And these things are really complicated, and I'm not always going to get to the ground truth. And the way that I like to approach my videos is I'm here to offer a perspective, give you that perspective to react to, you share your perspective, and then we jointly make sense and try to get to a shared sense of reality and get as close to the truth as possible. And that's the value of people commenting respectfully with critiques of my videos. So thank you. Now I want to add some clarification. And to be clear, this is not to absolve responsibility for the mistake that I made, but because I think the point of the video is still important here. First, I want to clarify the issues that actually led to the LA fire that were related to water. To be 100% clear, the LA fires didn't get out of hand because we didn't have enough water. The reservoirs that we were pulling for had enough water. The Pacific Palisades Reservoir, which was empty, was not empty because we didn't have enough water to fill it, but rather because there was a maintenance process that was mismanaged by the city of LA, and as a result, we had to use different reservoirs to give water to the Pacific Palisades. But we had enough water. The issue with fire hydrants being dry that many people have pointed out is not due to a lack of water, but because the urban water infrastructure system was not able to channel enough water into those fire hydrants fast enough, because during the firefighting, the amount of demand on the water system was 4 times higher than normal. This brings me to my broader clarification about the way that Trump presented his actions, because in the executive order, as well as in multiple tweets, he kept on referencing the LA fires, essentially as a tacit justification for his actions. And you might subjectively disagree, but he's being a politician, and that's what politicians do, and both sides do it, but Trump does too. The thing that he's doing, even if he had done it before the LA fires, would not have helped with the LA fires at all. Because again, the issue is not a lack of water, but our capacity to deliver it through the water infrastructure system. Now, to be 100% clear, I'm not saying that Trump took the wrong action. There are many Central Valley residents who are very happy that he intervened at a federal level to give them the water that they need for their farmlands. And I agree with him in his critique of LA's mismanagement of priorities and doing things like prioritizing conservation too highly over the needs of human beings. What I'm pointing out is that great actions matter, but great messaging does too. Trump himself said on election night that it's time for America to heal.
To help our country heal. We're going to help our country heal. We have a country that needs help, and it needs help very badly.
Well, here's what's getting in the way of healing. For the last 10 years, half the country has been propagandized into believing that Trump is a genuine fascist authoritarian who would use the military to force through his aims. So when Trump announces that he is deploying the military to turn on the water in California, it raises several flags. One, the use of the military, and two, intervening in what appears to many people to be a state matter. Now, to be super clear, managing the Central Valley Project is within the jurisdiction of the federal government. So what Trump did is within his purview. It's the appearances of things that matter, because most people are not thinking about the distinction between the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and the military. They're seeing Trump post on Truth Social and X saying that he sent the military in. So if Trump genuinely wants the country to grow and heal, it's simply an opportunity for growth for him as a great leader to bring more nuance and specificity and grace into his communication. And he can do all of that without sacrificing authenticity. Now, I'll admit, part of the reason that I made the video was not just because I think that Trump messed up the messaging here, but because I think it's also important for my audience, much of which is right-leaning, to also get comfortable critiquing errors in judgment by our leaders. Though I did that imperfectly with a technical mistake that I made, I think the broader point still remains. It's easy for all of us to become tribalistic and overlook what's happening on our side because we saw the other side doing it too. We don't need our leaders to be perfect, but we can hold them to a high standard of not only being truthful, but also being graceful. And if we're unwilling to do that, then we will just keep on swinging the pendulum from one extreme to the other every 4 to 8 years. And what we will sacrifice is not only the unity of the people, but our ability to get our problems solved too.